It's actually amazing how data can uncover these really fascinating stories, even in markets you might not think about every day.
Absolutely.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into the global golf shoe market.
Sounds niche, but there's a lot there.
Totally. We've got insights and figures directly from cognitive market research, and we're going to sift through them. It's not just about, shoes. It tells us a lot about global leisure trends, sports
How
participation.
people are spending their time and money.
Exactly. So, get this. The market kicked off in 2021 at nearly $4 billion, 3,954.37 million US dollars to be precise.
Wow.
And it's projected to swing up to, well, over $6.5 billion by 2033. That's 6,569.58 million.
That's quite a climb.
It is. It works out to a CAGR, a compound annual growth rate of about 4.321%. So our mission today, find the key nuggets, the surprises, and help you understand what's really driving this growth globally.
Yeah, and I think it's a great way to see how a product like golf shoes can act as sort of an economic signal.
Mm.
You look at the different regions, the different growth speeds,
Mhm.
and it really highlights shifts in income, how sports are being adopted culturally, maybe even infrastructure developments in different places. It's about looking past the raw numbers.
I love that angle, seeing the bigger picture. Okay, so let's start our world tour in North America. The report calls it one of the most prominent regions. No huge surprise there, I guess.
Right, it's a stronghold. North America's golf shoe market was already valued at $1,338.988 million back in 2021.
Okay.
Looking forward, they see it hitting $2,141.43 million by 2033. That's a CAGR 4.039%. So yeah, solid growth, still a huge chunk of the market.
Definitely a powerhouse, like you said. But, the really interesting stuff often hides in the details, right? The differences between countries within the region. Can you break North America down for us? Where's the action happening?
Sure. So the U.S. obviously dominates. It was over $1.1 billion in 2021.
Mm.
It's got steady growth projected, CAGR around
Gold
3.9%.
standard, yeah.
But look north, Canada, smaller market overall, sure, but $134 million in 2021.
Right.
But its growth rate is projected much higher. We're talking a 5.133% CAGR.
Oh, wow. Okay, 5.1%. That's noticeably faster than the U.S.
It is. And Mexico is in the mix, too. Its CAGR is closer to the U.S. rate, around 3.966%.
That Canadian number, though, that jumps out. I mean, the U.S. is the golfing giant. Why would Canada, a smaller market, be growing so much faster comparatively? What could be going on there?
Well, a higher TR like Canada's, it could point to a few things. Maybe a surge in year-round golf, with indoor simulators becoming more popular, especially given the climate.
Oh, God, good point. Indoor golf still needs the gear.
Exactly. Or it could be golf reaching new groups of people, expanding its demographic base. Or maybe existing golfers are just, investing more in better, more specialized equipment as the sport gains popularity there.
Interesting. So it's not just more golf, but maybe how and where people are playing and who's playing. Okay, let's hop across the Atlantic. Europe, deep golf roots there, but also, a real mix of economies.
Right. Europe's market was $1,148.1 million in 2021. The projection, $1,850.54 million by 2033. That gives it a KGR of 4.09%.
Okay, so pretty similar to North America's overall growth rate. Consistent.
Yeah, consistent mature growth. But like you said, the real story is drilling down into the individual countries. It's quite varied.
So within that, billion-dollar plus European market, where do we see the interesting variations? Are some countries pulling ahead or maybe lagging behind that average?
Definitely. Germany, for example, was actually the biggest single market in 2021. And both Germany and the UK are showing strong growth KGRs, getting close to 5%.
Okay, so they're outpacing the regional average.
Yeah, significantly. Suggests maybe golf participation is really expanding strongly there. But then you look at other big markets like France and Italy. Their growth is a bit slower, more like 3.5% CAGR.
Interesting difference.
It shows golf's evolution isn't, one size fits all across Europe. Even smaller countries like Denmark, Switzerland, they're showing pretty healthy growth too, contributing to that overall steady picture.
It really shows that local factors matter, even in established markets. Okay, now, let's shift gears because the report flags Asia-Pacific as, and I quote, a robust growth leader. This sounds like where things get exciting.
Oh, absolutely. Asia-Pacific is definitely the region to watch closely. It started at $632.699 million in 2021.
Okay.
But the projection is for it to surge to $11,129.54 million by 2033. That's a CAGR of
Oh,
4.885%.
wow, nearly 5%. That's the highest regional rate we've seen so far.
It is. And within that, China's obviously huge, growing fast too, over 5.2% CAGR. But the real standout is India.
India.
Yeah. Starting from a smaller base, around $76 million in 2021, but projected to grow at an incredible 5.563% CAGR.
Whoa, hold on. 5.56%.
Says you
That's the highest country rate anywhere in the report, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is. The fastest overall. And you also have strong contributions from South Korea,
Yeah.
Australia, Singapore, Southeast Asia as a block is also over 5.2%. It's a very dynamic region.
That Indian growth rate is just phenomenal. I mean, 5.5% for golf shoes. What's behind that? It has to be more than just general economic growth, right? What's fueling that specific surge?
Well, that kind of explosive growth usually points to a few converging factors. We're likely seeing significant investment in new, modern golf courses, especially around big cities and tech hubs.
Right, attracting a new demographic.
Exactly, a younger, wealthier, professional crowd. Plus, there's probably a growing aspirational aspect to golf. More international events being hosted there, more academies popping up. It's expanding the player base rapidly, from casual players to serious ones, and they're buying the gear.
Makes sense. Okay, from the boom in Asia Pacific, let's turn to South America. The report mentions sort of varying speeds of expansion there.
Yeah, South America's market was $346.787 million in 2021, projected to hit $551.900 million by 2033, which is a CR of 3.915%.
Okay, so a bit slower than North America or Europe overall.
Right. And drilling down, Brazil and Argentina are leading the way, both with KRs around 4.1, 4.2%. Colombia is strong too, over 4.2%. But here's the odd part.
Uh-oh.
The category labeled Rest of South America. Usually these rest of segments show some growth. But here, the CAGR is projected at just 0.087%.
Wait, 0.087? That's basically flat. Minimal growth, as the outline said? That seems really unusual compared to everywhere else.
It is. It's a real anomaly.
So what does that tell us? Compared to the decent growth in Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, it suggests golf's expansion is really concentrated in just a few spots there, maybe not spreading continent-wide.
I think that's exactly it. It paints a picture of highly concentrated development. It implies that outside those main countries, there might be bigger barriers, maybe lack of courses, cost, or just stronger preferences for other sports like football. The growth seems really tied to specific economic centers and existing golf communities.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the Middle East. The report notes some impressive acceleration there.
Yes, the Middle East is another really dynamic region. Valued at $373.688 million in 2021, is projected to reach $673.457 million by 2033. That's a CAGR of 5.009%.
Okay, over 5%. So that puts it second only to Asia Pacific in regional growth speed.
That's right. Very rapid development. Within the region, Saudi Arabia is a major driver. Its TAGR is over 5.3%. Turkey and Egypt also show good growth, high fours. But the UAE really jumps out again, an exceptionally high key JR predicted, 5.416%.
Wow. The UAE at over 5.4%. That's striking. We know the region, especially the UAE, has been pouring money into high-end tourism, luxury leisure. This growth seems to tie right into that bigger picture, doesn't it? Like a signal of that luxury sports market really taking off.
Precisely. The UAE's whole strategy involves building these world-class golf destinations, hosting big tournaments, attracting wealthy expats and tourists.
Yeah.
Golf is very much part of that luxury lifestyle package they offer, so it drives demand for the premium gear, the shoes, everything.
Makes perfect sense. All right, let's wrap up our regional tour with Africa. The report highlights its very high growth potential.
Yeah, Africa's fascinating. It's currently the smallest market in total value, about $114 million in 2021.
Right.
But it's projected to be the fastest growing region overall. Expected to hit $222.713 million by 2033, which gives it the highest regional CAGR, 5.25%.
Higher even than Asia Pacific and the Middle East on a regional basis.
Exactly. And within Africa, two countries are really driving this, Nigeria and South Africa. They both have absolutely astonishing projected TAGRs, both over 6%.
Over 6%.
Yeah. South Africa is just slightly ahead at 6.013%, which actually makes it the single highest country CAGR in the entire report.
Yeah.
Higher even than India.
That is incredible. Nigeria and South Africa leading the charge like that, over 6% growth. I mean, that's way more than just shoe sales, isn't it? It really points to something bigger happening with the sport itself in those countries, maybe a real surge in participation, access. What's going on there?
Well, numbers like that suggest a pretty dramatic shift is underway. You're likely seeing rapid urbanization, creating new potential players, a rising middle class that's younger and more interested in diverse sports,
Hmm.
and maybe increased investment, public or private, in making golf more accessible. For a long time, golf might have seemed very elite there, but these figures, they signal a much broader embrace is starting. Africa could become a really major emerging force in golf globally.
Okay, so let's pull this all together. We've toured the world through golf shoes.
Yeah.
What's the big picture takeaway for you listening? Overall, it seems the market is strong, growing steadily, but with really diverse stories, region by region.
Exactly. To quickly recap the hotspots, the regions showing particularly strong expansion are Asia Pacific, the Middle East, and looking forward, Africa.
Right.
And the specific countries where demand is really surging, the fastest KGRs, that's India, Nigeria, and South Africa. Those are the places to watch.
So why should you care about golf shoe sales figures? Well, like we said at the start, it's not really just about the shoes. This data paints a picture of rising global interest in golf. It's fueled by a growing sports culture generally, more people playing, and also this trend towards premium sort of lifestyle-focused gear. It's a really interesting window into how leisure time and spending are changing across totally different cultures and economies. It tells a bigger story about global development, maybe even aspirations.
And thinking about that bigger story leads to, perhaps a final thought to leave you with. We've seen these incredibly high growth rates in emerging markets, India, Nigeria, South Africa.
Yeah.
So the question is, how might the actual global landscape of golf itself change in the next, say, 10, 20 years?
Yeah.
Beyond just who buys the equipment. Could we see new powerhouses emerge, new top players, major tournaments shifting location, maybe even changes to the culture of the sport itself driven by these new growing regions?
That is definitely something to think about, where the future of the game might lie. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive today.
Pleasure.
And remember, all the insights and the figures we discussed came directly from cognitive market research.